What up? What up, what up, what up, what up? We're live on Periscope and YouTube, and apparently Twitch is not working again. So, Twitch is lame. Also, somebody has hacked into my Twitch account. I don't know what it is, who it is. So, we will just not rely on Twitch for now on. For now, we will not rely on Twitch. But we can still rely on YouTube. Thank you, Glitch Mod. Thanks for the compliment. Hey, Doug. Wow, the tweet disappeared. Oh no. What tweet? What tweet hath disappeared? Oh my gosh, what did I tweet? Ha! What did I tweet just now? Just so you know, if you sneeze and fart at the same time, your body takes a screenshot. That was what I farted. That was what I tweeted. That was what I tweeted. Yes, exactly. Hey Josh, thank you. So, this isn't actually rosé. This is a rosé hard cider. It's a rosé hard cider. From Bold Rock. Bold Rock rosé hard cider. I wonder what happened to Corona, like the beer brand. Is Corona like out of business or something? Are people still having those beers? Because last I checked, there were like a bunch of dumb people who were like not buying Corona beers because of the virus. Because it sounds like the virus. I don't drink Corona because I don't drink beer. So, like, I don't drink beer because it makes my stomach hurt. I think I have some kind of like gluten intolerance or something like that because my stomach hurts, I get nauseous, I get pukey. That's why I stick to hard cider and wine, and also like non-gluten spirits, if that makes sense. Oh, the Ice Cube one. Okay, so that was not a glitch, and that was not you being crazy. I actually did retweet Ice Cube. Ice Cube tweeted like a picture about like it was a picture of I lost it. Ice Cube tweeted a picture of this bridge where someone put a sign on the bridge that said like the media is lying to you or something, traitors. It was just funny, but I didn't realize when I tweeted it that next to it was like a huge Q sign, and Ice Cube is now like part of Q, or like, so I didn't want to retweet it, so like I unretweeted it because Q is like a fake organization. Hey, Sarah! Oh my gosh, my friend Sarah Selup is watching this, and Sarah, I've known her for like years at this point from DC, and we've had lots of fun together. And now that we're all over because of this stuff that's been happening over the past couple months, it almost feels like we're in a different dimension of reality. It feels like Loco says this is boring. Loco, if this is boring to you, you can F off. You can go somewhere else that's less boring. Oh my gosh, my eyes are itching. There's something in my eye. I don't know what it is. Someone called and I had to hang up. Hey, Sarah and Andrew. Oh, this is so awesome. Okay, my friend is calling, but I can't pick up because I'm doing my live stream. All right. So what was I saying? I get so distracted very quickly. But yeah, the past couple months have been kind of crazy. And it feels like we're in a different dimension. And I can't say that it's been for the worst for me because, like, honestly, because of the past couple months, like, because of coronavirus and because of, like, these riots and all these crazy things happening, I've actually gotten a lot good in my life because of it. Like, because of that, I've, like, done some, like, really cool things that I'm very excited about. And I met somebody really cool. Actually, I met him years ago when I was an undergrad, but we met again because of coronavirus, because I was back in California and he was in California. And so, like, a lot of really cool things happen just because of crisis. And I also, and this was not on purpose, I also became very fired up about politics. Even though I was trying to stay away from it in the past, you know, like, someone's asking if I wrote about politics. I used to write about politics, and I was trying to stay away from it. Rosemary and Felix, I feel you. I was trying to stay away from politics and just be like a neutral person on the internet, just tweets, you know, from time to time and whatever. And the stuff that's happened recently, it kind of got me fired up. Also, I stopped caring because part of one of the big decisions I had made was leaving the big cities, moving out of the big cities, because a lot of just so much corruption happening there. And also I just didn't like the culture. I didn't feel safe. Things are way cheaper outside of the big cities. And I just felt like, what's the point? I've always wanted to move out. Why not do it now? And also, I just always wanted a home that's mine, because if you have been following me over the past few years and you have seen some of my videos, you will have noticed that I have had a very unstable living situation the past few years. And so that was a big part of why I decided maybe big city life is not for me. I also, just my personality, I don't fit in with the big city, like, PC people. I say a lot of stupid things all the time, and, you know, I say stupid because, like, it's stuff that gets me in trouble. My language does not fit in with the big city people. It's not, you know, like, I am educated. I am getting I'm on my third MBA. I'm on my third higher education degree. So, you know, master's in communications, and then also now my MBA from Johns Hopkins. I still don't feel like I fit in with the very corporate, like, big city culture. And I do very much like the idea of, like, being able to have, at least, even if I'm not there all the time, at least that place outside of that culture that's mine, that I can get kicked out of, that nobody can give me shit for, like, saying stupid things, whatever. Like, Doug says, I was your age when I moved here, meaning New York, right? Same problem. Someone is asking, why so many degrees? Personally, I feel like it helped me, although it is very expensive and kind of crazy. But someone says you don't fit in because you are a conservative. And I tried very hard. Sarah says she got a puppy. Sarah, congratulations. That's awesome. My friend Sarah, and she's actually, you might have met Sarah on my one of my live streams. I don't remember, but that's really exciting. That's awesome. Felix says the city has no soul. It's trendy. It's all trendy restaurants and trash everywhere. Yeah, you know what? Like, I'm not chasing after like a social network anymore. I've got all the friends I need. I've got the people I need in my life. I've got everything I need. Why do I need to be in a big city? That just gives me grief. Sarah, I'm so excited to check my phone. Josh asks when I became red-pilled. So honestly, a few years ago, I tell the story in one of my videos, in one of my previous videos, and someone says, please stop saying like all the time. I will try. And someone is saying, isn't my school expensive? Are you making enough money to pay for all those degrees? I work very hard. I work full time. And I also do things, I'm always looking for things to do on the side to make money. I have a money-making obsession. I'm both, my background, both Persian and Jewish. So I'm like always thinking about, I just said that as a joke, by the way. Don't worry if you're like, I'm not making any political statement. I'm just joking. But I'm always thinking about what to do, what are ways to become financially independent? What are ways to make money? Like, oh my gosh, Dove Altman and Joe Anderson, thank you so much. Thank you so much for your super chats. That's awesome. Joe says it's not about the city, it's about PC SJW culture. And Dove says L'chaim. Thanks. If you guys, by the way, if you have a drink nearby, feel free to drink with me. Just because I can't see you doesn't mean that I don't know you're there. I see you in the comments. And tell me what you're drinking. So, Joe, I agree with you. I think it's not just the fact that it's a big city. It is the fact that it's a city that our cities have developed this like very, very like one-sided culture that's on all of our college campuses, all of our big corporate cultures, has all the big major institutions, and the brands take it up, and like it's all following this one like big culture that this one, I don't know what to call it, SJW, PC. Personally, I would call it a communist culture. And I know people don't like it when you say communist because it sounds crazy, but it's not crazy because this is the same exact, like, just follow what's happening in China and what their culture is like. And I know very little, by the way. Like, I'm just talking from the perspective of somebody who doesn't, I'm just talking from the perspective of somebody who has not studied philosophy. I know very little history. All I do is I just talk to people. And I have a lot of friends who live in China, and it sounds just like what it's like in China. And what's happening here sounds just like what's already happened in China for a while now. So that's why I say communist, because it also follows a lot of the way that they, it follows a lot of that mindset. And it's one way. They're all the same. All the big institutions and the academia and the big cities, like the prevalent thought, it's all the same. It's very much one way. So that's all I say. I can't say this stuff. You guys, a lot of you I know are all over the world and you live everywhere. So I feel like I can talk about this on my live stream. But in the big cities where everybody's living in the same place, it feels very different. I don't feel like I can talk about these things as much. I honestly don't feel like it. And that's why I really needed something that was my own place, that was kind of like normal. You can talk about whatever. Andrew, hey Andrew, Andrew, this is awesome. I'm so happy to see you on my live stream. Andrew says, is this another white flight, i.e. middle class, fleeing the cities? I mean, I didn't even know that was a thing, white flight. That's really interesting. Yeah, I guess. Middle class, that's probably what I would consider myself. Not rich enough to afford the big city in all its glory, but not and protection. Not poor enough to be on welfare. So yeah, middle class. And yeah, definitely for me, I think like I want to. There's a lot more that I can enjoy and afford outside of the big city. And also I feel safer. Dove says, I don't think we are at China level at all. Our left thought comes from an elitist mindset and a bigotry of expectations. Yeah, you're right. I should have made that clear. I definitely don't think we're at China level. I agree with you. We are definitely not at China level. And sometimes people get really upset when I say this kind of stuff because they're like, how could you compare us to China? How could you compare us to like, you know, these crazy communist countries? And I agree with you. Like, we're not there at all. But I just like I like to make the comparison because it's such a stark, like, you see it so clearly in those countries that it's easier to make the comparison. All right. Someone says the big city are not communist. They're just trying to be more inclusive, multicultural. Somebody says, do you think we are in a simulation? Andrew says, we miss you. Andrew and Sarah are dating. So the other girl I was talking to before. And so I used to hang out with them, and we haven't seen each other in a while because of everything. So hopefully see you guys soon. All right. So from 1 to 10, how excited are you about Joe Biden becoming the next president? Somebody asked. That's a fun question. I'm gonna drink. Okay, so somebody asked what got me red pilled. Honestly, I really, like, for a while. Oh man. I'm sorry for saying like so many times. Okay. Nate, I definitely want to play piano. Once I have my new place, someday when I have my new place that's mine, and I have a piano in it, I will play piano for you. Deal? Maybe even sooner if we are in a place with a piano. So, somebody asked how I got red pilled. Honestly, when I got involved in politics, I was not at all like political. I didn't know anything about politics. My family is not political, as I've said many times on this live stream. My family is not involved at all. And they don't like to be involved. They came from a country, my parents came from a country where like being involved in politics meant death. So they tried to stay very far from that as possible. They tried to live their own life. And unfortunately for them, their daughter wandered into it. And it was by accident. I met Ben Shapiro at an apolitical event when I was in college. I was pre-med and I was working at a hospital. I started interning for him for fun. For a year, I did it for free, and then he hired me, so then I started making money from it, and it was a lot of fun, plus I was making money. And it was even more fun than I was having at the hospital, where I was doing research for hours and hours every day with no sense of fulfillment. It was very boring data research. And eventually I decided to put med school on the back burner and go ahead and apply for different jobs in DC. I moved to DC after college and stayed there for the next almost 4 years until here we are. It's been about 4 years since I graduated from UCLA, and I don't regret anything. It was a lot of fun. But it was not on purpose. Like, going into politics and learning the amount that I have learned, it was kind of like an accidental red pill, because I really tried to get away from it, actually, a lot. And 1 second. Andrew says, don't apologize for saying like. More important to speak true and genuine. Just be awesome you. Thank you. Also, thank you, Dove. That's awesome. Hey, Jim. So, I really tried to get away from it as much as I could. I tried to get away from politics. I didn't realize when I moved to DC what the world of politics is about. I was coming from a very ignorant perspective. I didn't realize that every issue is a third rail issue in politics, and how much people in Washington care about politics, to the point that even if you don't care about it, they do, and they will come after you for it if you say the wrong thing or you say something that they don't like. And by they, I mean the establishment, which the ruling class, which I say ruling class because that's what they have in China and that's what we have here. We definitely have a ruling class here. The ruling class believes in it's a more like a left-wing ideology. And I didn't realize how prevalent it is because I grew up in a very, very sheltered school system. I went to ultra-Orthodox Jewish schools, which people think of Jewish and they think left-wing. No, this was not left-wing. This is the opposite of left-wing. This was right-wing, but not even right-wing. They weren't political. They were just very religious. So it was a very religious, very sheltered school system. And we didn't have these like PC culture. I didn't grow up with that. And all the third rail issues that this corporate big city world is all about. So when I kind of fell into it, it was almost a shock because I realized that so many people, and I became famous very quickly because I was saying things that nobody else was saying. I didn't realize it was such a big deal. I was just having fun because I loved the people that I was working for. At least when I was working for Ben, I loved working for Ben. And when I moved to DC, I was on my own. And it was really crazy, like seeing how many people hated my guts, wanted to destroy me, really like genuinely and passionately seemed to hate me. Or the really, really, really nice people, the really kind-hearted people thought that I was crazy and stupid. The really nice ones did not hate me and did not want to destroy me and did not think I was a Nazi. Those people just thought I was stupid. Thankfully. So that's when I realized what it is. Yeah. And then I tried to stay away from it. I went through like on and off periods. I had to stay away from it, but then I kept getting jobs in it. And then I kept getting jobs in different things related to it and kept coming back. I tried to leave the country and then I came back and all that stuff. So I worked for so many different people. Recently, I realized that after I made the decision to move out of the big city, I realized that it doesn't matter what I say. I can say whatever I want. Nobody can come after me. I can say whatever stupid thing I want. And thankfully, it's almost good that I went through that process and that I lived in that environment that taught me all the things that are good and bad, because now I know that I shouldn't say certain things. Some things are offensive, some things are sensitive. I wish we lived in a world where you could say whatever you want about everybody and everybody would just like not take everything so seriously and just be lighthearted because we are all humans and we're all like a family, right? But it's not. So I'm glad that I had that learning experience and I learned all the things that are bad and good. And, you know, maybe I should give lessons for people who are small city people. Maybe I really feel like I should give lessons on this. Maybe people who are coming from like farm towns or like the middle of nowhere, or immigrants. Immigrants are a good example of people who come, you know, and they don't know what the PC culture is. They don't know what's appropriate to say in the workplace, and then they say something stupid and then they get fired and they don't know why they got fired. So maybe I should give like lessons on this. We could do live streams talking about all the things that are allowed and all the things that are not allowed, and the things that will get you in trouble and the things that will make you more popular, which political issues you can get behind in order to become popular. Josh, thank you so much for your super chat. That's awesome. Thank you. And yeah, that's awesome. So yeah, maybe one day I'll do that. Or maybe that one day will be like tomorrow or something. But now I don't care anymore, because if anything happens to me, I can just run over to outside of the city and be fine and just be around my neighbors who will be also as unfiltered as I am. Somebody says, hey Emery, thank you for joining. So someone is asking for my thoughts on the Black Lives Matter movement. Are you trying to get me in trouble? You're trying to get me in trouble, aren't you? This is you trying to get me in trouble? Dope says, someone I know is in Ghana, and when she asked locals what they think of the demo wearing the scarf, she was like, we don't have time to be bothered by them. That's funny. That's very funny. Yeah, I feel like, in my honest opinion, I feel like this is all a political game. And that's my honest opinion, and it's like a trend, and everybody's hopping on the trend, and everybody's just sheep. And I don't think it's about race. I'm sorry. I really don't think it's about race. I don't think that these people are helping any cause. I don't think it's about race. I don't think it's about coronavirus. I don't think it's about any of these things. I just think it's political. That's just what I think. Come at me, bro. And you know what? Most people would agree with me. They just won't say it publicly because they will get in trouble for saying it. But why should it be that way? It's really just a political game. They will, if you are a black person, by the way, if you're a black person, try being a black American who goes against this narrative. Try being a black person going against this narrative. They will destroy you even worse than they destroy a white person who goes against the narrative. Because at least the white person who goes against the narrative, they can call you racist, and that's just, I mean, you're white anyway, you're white, you're a racist, blah, blah, blah. If you're a black person who goes against the narrative, then you're not only going against the narrative, you're making them seem stupid. Because you're making them seem like they don't have a cause, because they're fighting against the black person to say Black Lives Matter. So, like, by the way, and it's not about Black Lives Matter. They call it Black Lives Matter so that if you go against it, then it means that you're disagreeing with Black Lives Matter. It's a trap. It's really a trap, because it's not about Black Lives Matter. Obviously, the movement does not care about Black lives. The statement Black Lives Matter is a true statement. It's like saying the sky is blue and naming the cause, your cause, the sky is blue. So your cause, let's say, is a communist cause. It's you start a communist uprising that is about defund the police, which, by the way, that's not the communist part of it. People say, well, defund the police, whatever. That's like a whole different thing. But and they're not saying defund the police. They're saying defund the police and fund a special kind of police that we approve. So it's not completely defund the police. It's fund a special kind of police, and that's a whole different thing. That's even worse, by the way. but like, what was I saying? It's taking a movement that's a toxic movement. Ozzy, I can't say your name, but somebody says this is a worldwide movement, Pardes. And I agree with you. This is a worldwide communist. This is like, you've seen communist uprisings in the past. This is like a worldwide communist uprising. Suddenly, like, all these other governments are also being affected by this. And it's like one like connected thing. And they're just using, and then they make the name of it, the sky is blue. So if you go against it, then you're going against facts. You're going against the sky is blue. Or worse, in this case, you're going against Black Lives Matter. And you're saying Black lives don't matter. But that's not what you're saying. What you're saying is the movement is toxic and wrong. The movement is not about Black lives. The movement is a communist uprising. And that's what you're saying. But they set it up so that if you go against the movement, you're a bad person. You're literally a Nazi. And literally Nazis need to be destroyed. Which is, by the way, ironic, because that is exactly the same thing that the Nazis did, except they were the Nazis. And these people will say, like, we are fighting white supremacy. So they use these terms, and that's how they trick people into being on their side. They sell you on they are doing the right thing for humanity. They sell you on this. They call their side the anti-fascists. They call their opposition the Nazis and the Hitlers, so that you don't realize that what they're doing is exactly what the Nazis and the Hitlers did. They literally went rioting and burning down buildings. That's what the Nazis did. I'm sorry for making a comparison, but... And I don't like it when people make comparisons in general, because, you know, like, it makes light of other situations in history, but I'm just saying it because they're making the comparison. So I'm flipping it on its head, and I'm saying, remember Kristallnacht, which was Nazis going in the streets and rioting and burning Jewish buildings, okay? This is what they're doing. They're just not doing it to only Jewish people. They're doing it with a lot of businesses and buildings, and they're killing people. Someone asked me if I'm white. According to the census, actually, I would be considered white because I'm Middle Eastern. I'm brown, but brown is not, on the census, brown is considered white. But I don't know, it depends who you ask. Someone says the vast majority are peaceful protesters. Your comparison does not make any sense. I can't tell you if the Nazis' vast majority were peaceful protesters. I don't know. That was a joke. Stupid. Someone says, are you really that blind to reality? Public objection and marches are part of democracy. I mean, I think protests are great. I support protests in general. I support free speech. I've supported protests. I've supported free speech forever, and I will continue to support free speech. I don't support rioting. And by the way, whenever I complain about these protests, I'm not protesting their ability to protest. I think that people should, I think people should be able to protest. And there have been protests that I like, that I have come out in support of. For example, I came out in support of the anti-lockdown protest because I just felt like it was government overreach. And I supported these people who were very peacefully protesting the government overreaching people's lives, not allowing people to go to the gym, not allowing people to go to haircuts, closing down businesses completely, collapsing the economy, putting 50 million people out of work, just because of a virus that we don't know when it's ever going to go away. And I thought that that was a very good reason to protest against the government for taking away people's livelihoods. I thought that was a great reason to protest. So that was my opinion. Maybe you don't agree, but that was my opinion. I thought the anti-lockdown protests were a very good reason for people to protest. And the people who were out protesting the lockdowns were very peaceful. I didn't see any violence. And those people may have been armed. I didn't see any violence coming from those people. And I also support protesters now. What I don't support is, aside from rioting, what I don't support is that the same people, the same politicians and leaders and like public figures who came out against the anti-lockdown protests and were like, you're killing grandma, you're putting your grandmothers in danger, you're doing this, you're doing that. And, you know, they had the police come out and arrest people for going to the beach. And they had, thank you so much. Ozzy Mandias, thank you so much for your compliment. I didn't like that they were like so coming out against these anti-lockdown protesters. And then now that these protesters have a different idea that they didn't like that those guys wanted to go back to work and start their businesses. They said, oh, you guys are just bored. That's why you're coming out, you're protesting. Your jobs aren't essential. You're just not essential people. You stay home while we take care of you. Stay home while the nurses do their jobs. Stop, you little, useless, not essential people trying to get out of your houses. I didn't like that. They were doing it to those people. But then when you have these people protesting, and they're protesting a different movement, now suddenly they support it. And not only do they support it, they're encouraging it, and they're even bailing people out who go to jail for blocking traffic for these movements. That's what I'm upset about. I'm upset about the insane double standard. And you even have some public experts that have literally, these public experts have these public experts have destroyed our economy. I don't think that was their intention. They're public experts, so their intention is they're expert. Their intention is to protect public health. So these public health experts, okay, have destroyed the economy, and then suddenly when it's a different kind of protest that they like, they say the lockdowns are still in place. We still advise that these lockdowns stay in place, but it's okay if you're protesting, meaning these protests that are happening over the BLM stuff. It's okay if you're protesting, but for everybody else, the lockdown is still in place. That is a double standard, and that's not fair. And I'm not saying that people shouldn't be allowed to protest. I support protesting. I'm saying that there's a huge double standard, and there's something very, very, very wrong with our leadership. And if they're going to allow people to protest right now, they certainly should have lifted the lockdown. It's crazy. They should have lifted the lockdown a long time ago. It's crazy that, anyway. Dove says, I have mixed feelings about this, having lost family members to COVID. I'm so sorry, Dove. That's awful. I'm sorry. And I definitely don't want to take that lightly. Like, I don't want to take what happened to your family members lightly. Because it's scary and it's like still happening. I don't know. I just feel like there has to be more honesty from our leadership. These public health experts, these people who are like, Nate says, I lost my mother to COVID. She was very sick and 66. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry to hear that. Guys, that's awful. That's really awful. Dove says our community has officially ended lockdown by now, though, due to no new cases. Good. That must be really difficult. And hopefully there isn't more cases. I just find it, hopefully there isn't more cases. I just find it unsettling that there's like a double standard. It's okay to be out protesting this thing, that thing, and in fact, the protesters now, I think, are a lot more people than the protesters before. Pseudonym says, I want everyone to stay safe, but also to be free. Make your own safety decisions. Leaping Fury says, I think it's slightly more dangerous than flu. It's just the media created panic. Yeah, I really don't trust the media, and people will be like, oh, well, you worked for the media. It's like, okay, well, I still don't trust the media. What's everybody drinking? What is everybody drinking today? What is everybody drinking? So I saw this awesome video of the Roof Koreans. Has anybody ever heard of the Roof Koreans? So the Roof Koreans were apparently, I only recently heard about them. When the LA riots happened, in 1992, there were like LA riots, I believe, 1992. And it was very similar. It was like police brutality, and it was happening. People were going and rioting and looting and lighting. They were looting businesses in Koreatown in LA, and they were like coming with their guns and whatever. And then a bunch of these Korean guys, business owners, went with guns on top of their roof, and they just like started shooting. And all the rioters like ran away very quickly. Like they basically, these guys and the police didn't come fast enough to like protect their businesses. So these guys were basically on the roofs of their businesses with their guns, protecting their businesses, and they were fine. Their businesses were apparently, according to this video I saw, their businesses were fine because they protected themselves. And I thought that was a really awesome story. That was the story of the Second Amendment working. People lawfully buying guns and protecting themselves, protecting their businesses. And someone says, so everyone is pro Second Amendment now. I've always been pro Second Amendment, but that's just me. I think that some people just started buying guns more recently because of everything that's happening, because they didn't feel safe, including Democrats. I mean, obviously the Second Amendment is for everybody, not just for Republicans. It's for everybody. And someone was like, someone on Twitter was like, well, if you support the Second Amendment, that means that you're also supporting it for black people. Are you saying that you would let black people have guns? And like, I was like, why wouldn't I? The whole point of the Second Amendment is that it creates the ability for every person to protect themselves lawfully, according to the law. And it was like, I mean, it was stupid that they even asked me that question. It was a racial question in itself, and they were trying to get me to say that, like, for some reason they were trying to get me to say, because they assumed that because I'm pro Second Amendment, everybody who supports the Second Amendment hates black people. That's what they were like assuming. which is so stupid. It's part of this brainwash culture. Anyway. Yeah, it was a stupid question. It was a stupid question they asked. It was a very stupid question. Yeah. That person was a racist. Thanks, Doug. Totally. Alright. So, yeah. I think we're just like very far down the rabbit hole of this culture being like the ruling class culture. People continue being pushed out to like the suburbs and the rural parts of the country, which is honestly fine with me. Whatever. I don't need to be... Ozzy says, I like when you scope with someone next to you, Pardes. I will have someone next to me. Soon, I will be scoping with my man, and you will all meet him. In person. And it should be really interesting. He's got a lot of cool ideas. I think you guys will like him. Doug says, I miss Lila. I miss Lila too. I texted her and I don't remember if we talked. I texted her. I don't know where she is. I don't know what's happening. I hope she's okay. Nate says, I want to be a farmer in Chile. This country will be split in half. You know what? I would not be surprised if that happened. If this country was split in half. The problem is that with this country splitting in half, and with all the Western countries that are going through this, all the Western countries are kind of going through this at the same time. The problem is that all the power is in the hands of the ruling class, which is one-sided. So one side has all the power and one side is like a bunch of farmers and like, I don't know, coal miners. Does that make sense to you, what I'm saying? One side is a bunch of farmers and people working in the field and stuff, and like small business owners and family people, and the other side are the people in charge of these institutions and academic institutions and government and all these money institutions. Like, it's just so divided. There's no way that those people would win against those people. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? I don't know if I'm making sense. So that's why I think maybe we might not split in half, because one side is just so extraordinarily more powerful than the other side that it just couldn't happen. Even though many people would want it to happen. We always talk about it happening. I will, come out with my gun and fight with my rifle. Ha! Your gun does not protect against shit. These people have nukes. Felix says, look up Moldbug's idea of the cathedral. It's basically what you're talking about. Moldbug's idea of the cathedral. Let's see. Moldbug's idea of the cathedral. Whoa. The Dark Enlightenment. Curtis Yarvin. Who's Curtis Yarvin? Oops. He went to Johns Hopkins. He went to my school, and he went to University of California. He also went to my school. He went to two of my alma maters. Let's see. But his ideas are often associated with the alt-right. Oh no! What rabbit hole did you just lead me down? He has links. Oh, he's still alive. Okay. He is still alive. He's known for ideas behind the Dark Enlightenment. He has links with Steve Bannon and with Peter Thiel. I'm reading his Wikipedia page. And he has been, I feel like I heard of this guy. I don't remember. He founded a computer platform called Urbit. He resigned from Tlon, his company, and so he can manage and develop Urbit. Let's see. Blah 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 blah. Oh, this is a lot of reading. Oh, this stuff makes me really upset. Whenever I read like people's Wikipedia pages and I see how like sometimes the way that some of these people are described, and sometimes it's people that I know, I see their Wikipedia pages and I know them personally and I know that they're great people, and then I see their Wikipedia page and I just see how much libel is in there and how much of it is just like defamatory and very obvious the person doesn't know this person, and it just makes me really upset. Jim Kirk says the Amish are also in Pennsylvania. I think I would go to Pennsylvania then. I really want to go and hang out with the Amish and see what they're all about. I'm really serious. I'm not kidding at all. I really have like always wanted to go to Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and hang out there and just hang out with some Amish people and talk to them and see what they're all about. Because I feel like they might actually really understand a lot of, like, the schools that I went to. I feel like they would get me. They would get my background. Okay. Anybody have any questions besides a person who was like, who watches this BS? You, apparently. Hey, someone says they're from Lancaster. Tell me what it's all about. I want to learn. Okay, any questions? Anybody? I'm really excited for you to meet my man. Nate says, do you enjoy Gustav Mahler? Somebody said, why didn't I send my bathwater? Would you really buy my bathwater? I would actually send it to you if you would actually buy it. What do you think? Felix says, what do you think is going to happen next? What I think is going to happen next is more fighting and more war and more craziness. Yeah, that's what I think is going to happen next. I think that... Okay, should I tell you what I think? I think that Trump will possibly win. And then possibly people will fight and revolt like never before. There will be riots and burning in the streets like never before. But that's what I think, and you shouldn't take what I think so seriously. So please don't be mad at me for saying that. Thank you. Paul Nye says, what happened to the guys that were storming Area 51? They kind of went away, didn't they? Those guys, I've actually seen people like with Area 51 hats recently, and it reminded me of that. It's funny. I don't know, man. Someone asked if I'm interested in cryptocurrency. I briefly owned Bitcoin, and I no longer own Bitcoin. Someone is asking what's the backstory of how I met my man. Ooh. That'll be a fun story. Maybe I should say it when he's here. It's really cool. I mean, I'll just start saying it when he's not here, and then I'll say it again when he's here. We'll pretend like it was the first time I said it. Ha! So, like, I was in college at the time. I liked him. But I was too shy to do anything about it. But I actually, like, okay, so I liked him. So I liked him. Then I liked him. Like, just his mannerisms, he was very, like, goofy. And I liked it. And he was cute. And then recently we started talking again randomly because I was back in California and it just made sense. We were talking, like, a lot of our lives, the way that things worked out just made sense. Our plans just made sense. You know, as we were talking, it was just so easy. It just, like, as we were talking, a lot of puzzle pieces just came together. And someone is asking if he has a sense of humor. Yes, he really has a sense of humor. He is very funny. Someone is saying, I divorced 3 times. No, I didn't. I never got married to divorce. Dude. He's very funny and very smart and a little bit goofy. And it was like, it's so great. And so, what was I saying? Yeah. So, actually, I thought that I was too shy to, like, reach out to him back then. But he showed me that even then, like, 23-year-old me or 22-year-old me? Yeah, 22-year-old me had apparently, like, messaged him. Which was, like, I had just randomly messaged him on Facebook. I was like, hi, how are you? And he was like, good, how are you? Or something like that, something random. LOL. And that was, like, the end of our conversation. He does not have 3 kids. Okay. And he's not Amish. Everybody's assuming he does not have 3 kids and he's not Amish. And he's not my parole officer. Don't have a parole officer. Okay. I did slide in the DMs. I slid in the DMs and I didn't even remember that I did that. I was so badass. Nate, I see you. Okay. Alright. Any other questions before we log off? Because we're almost hitting the 1 hour mark. Josh says, what are the chances of you getting more involved in politics? It's completely emotional. Me getting involved in politics was completely emotional. It was not a rational decision. So, me getting involved in politics would really depend on how crazy politics get and how much it gets on my emotions. If you think... Thank you so much, Nathan. Thank you. Hey, someone just gave me a compliment. Someone says, it sounds like you like him a bit more than the other guys you dated. Yes, I do. I do, Lisa. Lisa, thank you so much. Ozzy, thank you. Yes, Lisa. All right. Level Up says, you are the chosen one. Politics and you go so well. Thank you. He's not Hasidish. Nate, what's my opinion of Putin? I don't know enough about Putin. Vladimir Putin. Okay, I have not thought about boxing. Okay, Charles, you just got here. Join us tomorrow or the next day for our next live stream. Okay, everybody. Hey, Luke! Luke's on my live stream. What up, Luke? Everyone say hi to Luke. Okay, everybody. That's it. Any more questions? Lucas Putin. See you next time, everybody. Luke Radowski and Vladimir Putin are the same person. Okay. Okay, everybody. Luke says, tell us a joke. Actually, I'm really not funny. Like, I don't have any jokes that I could think of. Like, I actually can't think of anything that's funny right now. It's like, my mind is... I should have, like... I don't know. Okay. Okay, that was my joke. Okay, bye everybody. Jim has a joke. Three guys are walking down the street. This better not be like a racist joke or something. And the other one ducks. Why did the little boy drop his ice cream? Because he got hit by a bus. Two walk in a bar. Guys, your jokes are too confusing to me. I'm gonna go now. Bye! Sweet dreams!